Welcome, I'm Michael Bickert. Thanks for joining me today as we explore concepts with the objective of improving your management skills and growing your business. Pause the video right now so that you can grab a notepad and a pen because I want you to commit to yourself, commit to me, that you will jot down some notes, jot down at least one action item that you can implement in your business today because that's what it's all about. We want to drive your business forward, and in order to do so, we need to implement things, innovate, move forward. If it is to be, it's up to me. I could be quoted as saying that many, many times throughout the years to my team. And, you know, it's something I believe in, and it sounds catchy, and I wonder if you accept that premise. If it is to be, it's up to me. And what I've always been referring to when I make that statement is that nobody's gonna do the heavy lifting for you. Nobody is going to make you successful. The degree to which your business succeeds will in large part originate with you. And yet, I want to ask you, do you think that your business's success is solely dependent on you? And I would say if you do, be honest with yourself. And maybe, when you reflect on it, you do that introspection, you think, well, no, of course, there are other parties involved, there's other stakeholders. But do you act as if your business's success is solely dependent upon you? As I say, it may originate with you as the owner, as the manager. You as an entrepreneur are critical to the success of your business. But if you have the belief, the paradigm that your business is solely successful, your business's potential or success is solely dependent on you, that's encumbering at best. And I would say it's terrifying at worst. And it's also somewhat arrogant. Of course, it takes a team of people to create any great company. When you look at the biggest and most successful companies that are discussed constantly in the news these days, such as Tesla or Amazon or, Apple, it would be very difficult for anyone to make the case that Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or the dearly departed Steve Jobs were solely responsible for the success of those companies. Nobody makes that argument. Of course, these people are driving forces, and in all three of those instances, they are either founders or co-founders of their respective companies, and they are integral and they are critical parts of the success, but it takes a team to make all of this happen. It takes all of the stakeholders working together. And so that's what I want you to focus on today and think about this. And remember when I made that distinction between what you can accept, what you can acquiesce to in a discussion with me about this and say, yeah, no, I understand there's other people involved in my success, and how you act, what it is that you do, what is your attitude and your behavior day to day. Those are all dependent upon your paradigms. Attitudes and behaviors make a difference with the correct paradigm. Attitudes and behaviors don't really lead to your success or effectiveness if you have the wrong paradigm. So acceptance is the first part, that it takes a team, and then start to analyze your attitudes and behaviors about how you can be more successful by utilizing an entire team. It takes probably just as much work to grow a small company as it does to grow a huge company. And I gave you some examples of huge companies. A lot of the greatest efforts by those founders, those people that we talked about, were probably in the early stages where they were small. And these businesses did start out relatively small. Now you might think, oh no, they started off bigger than my business or whatever. I'm telling you, you probably are putting in as much effort as any of those founders did if you're an entrepreneur, if you're running a business. And if it takes as much effort and dedication to grow a small business as a big business, why not think bigger? Start considering how much bigger you could grow your business and what will it take. Today's topic is all about that, because what it's going to take is it's going to take a team effort. And so you start to reflect upon, well, what do I need to do to enable my team to help me? The first thing is you have to consider the alignment of objectives. Does your team want what you want? And that's, I guess, precursor to that is sharing a vision, making sure that people buy into a vision that you have and aligning the objectives so that they will, I like to say, row in the same direction. Sorry, they will row in the same direction as you, and they will cooperate in the achievement or the attempts to achieve the objectives that are necessary in order for your business to make its way toward that vision from the current state to the desired state. And in order to do that, you have to align objectives, I said yes, but you need a culture of trust. So your people, if they are distrustful of you, if you don't have a culture of trust where they can collaborate with one another and they can communicate with you openly and candidly, it's not going to work. So start with trust, and trust will then lead to a culture and an environment in which you can have empowerment. You have to be able to empower your people. If your people are not empowered to do those things that you need them to do, that you rely upon them to do to grow your business forward, then it's going to be all about you again. All the things are going to be left on your plate. If you don't have trust of your people and they can't trust you, what the part of them trusting you is that if they make a mistake, if they take a risk, they can trust that you'll understand that their objectives are aligned with yours and they're only trying to do this to grow the business. And so that comes with the empowerment and the trust. And if you don't do that and everything's on your plate, then of course you've limited the degree to which your business can grow. It's not very scalable because you're going to be the limiting factor in your business. And some symptoms of that you will notice is on any given day, if you are running around like a chicken with your head cut off, you're like constantly busy, the tyranny of the urgent, or even if you're well organized and you're relatively effective at accomplishing what you set out to in a day, and you're taking my advice and focusing on the two most important things every day and not just being reactive to whatever urgently gets thrown at you, even if you're doing all those things right, you are still the limiting factor. You're still limiting how big your business can scale to, because you're only one person. You can only do so much. You only have so much time in a day. So you need to decentralize. You need to I want to repeat that. You need to decentralize the workload and have many people that are responsible for the carrying out of the various objectives that you have. So you have to have trust and you have to have empowerment. You need to have tools that enable that as well. Collaboration tools, things that you can work on together. And I always use the term mechanism. You need to have mechanisms, but in this case, I want you to think about technology and tools that enable people to collaborate better. I mean, you can't read one another's minds. So these tools allow for communication very effectively as well as quite efficiently. And I know there's an inverse relationship between those things, but you need to have technologies where people can enter their ideas and other people can run with it, and you don't have to meet constantly. You don't want to have a culture where it's completely dependent on a meeting every single time before anyone can move forward. So there is a place for very efficient communication that will enable you to move forward. Now, maybe the communication of the vision, and there's some more critical things that you're not going to leave to efficient communication. You're going to save for those meetings and everything. But project management tools and databases and these kinds of things that automate some workflows, these are really critically important for being able to scale your business. And if you're thinking about this and you don't have the resources or you don't have the internal knowledge to do these things, reach out to BMI, go to our website. We can set this stuff up for you all relatively inexpensively. and let you focus on your vision. You can focus on those really important things, and we can help you to create mechanisms to distribute the workload, to decentralize, get stuff off of your plate onto your people so that you can continually grow, so that you can focus on scaling. All right, so we've covered, you've got to have trust, you've got to have empowerment, you have to have tools or mechanisms through which you can decentralize and you can spread the workload. You have to have great communication, and you need to have a culture in which failure is embraced as a necessity, where people, that comes hand in hand with that trust concept, but communicate with your people that not only is failure going to be tolerated, or that you have an understanding that failure is necessary, but I want you to have a culture where you say that failure is expected. Those who are not failing often enough are probably not extending themselves. They're probably not contributing as much as those that do fail. Now, you don't want recurring failures. You want to have the educational component from failure, and that people aren't making the same mistakes. And you're not failing for failure's sake, but failure can be a great indicator that your people are trying very difficult tasks. They're trying things, they're pushing the envelope, they're getting outside of their comfort zones, and they're failing. And yet, then the next time, the next iteration on that particular task that they're trying to accomplish is not a failure. They've refined from the education they got from the first time in which they failed. You need to have a culture in which your people understand that it is entirely expected that they drive innovation. They understand that it's not a culture around here where you wait for marching orders from the boss before you do anything. Rather, the boss is expecting each of us to contribute in a way to drive things forward. We all understand the vision, and we have to move things forward. And so that comes back again to report cards, and maybe you can measure that. If you're not measuring something, it's not going to happen. So you need to be able to look at your team and ascertain which of those people are failing from time to time because they are innovating, they are trying new things, they are, exploring new territories or ground for your business, and that helps you to scale. Embrace the idea that the very best businesses, the best businesses that you can think of, those businesses that you admire and perhaps you aspire to achieve similar success, those businesses thrive due to a decentralization of idea generation and innovation and implementation. It's not solely on the shoulders of the founder, the top dog, so to speak. If it is to be, it's up to me. Yes, that is true to the extent that you need to create the vision, and then you need to allow your people to help you with the implementation of the vision. If you're wondering if you already have this culture or not in your business, ask yourself, when is the last time you made some real progress, some real innovation that affected the bottom line? And then ask yourself, where did that originate? Is it every example that you can think of from you? And if not, if by contrast you notice that most of the examples you can think of innovations came from other stakeholders on your team, elsewhere on your team, and in fact you are noticing that when you reflect upon it, that almost all of the innovation comes from the team, now you're going to grow a successful business. Now you're on the right track with some of those other examples we gave earlier about those big businesses. Because if you were to go inside those businesses, anyone watching this video who maybe has some insight into those businesses, may have worked for one of these huge companies or any huge company, you can attest, and you should leave a comment that we can all learn from, that there are many people contributing to great ideas. And it's not about taking credit every time, although you want to reward. That's part of the alignment of objectives. You want to have incentives and reward people for creating great ideas. But really, I must have said the word culture 15 times in this video at least. It's about a culture. Do you have that culture? And what I'm saying in terms of a litmus test for that is to consider, look back at the innovation, at the meaningful progress and improvement that your business has made where did those ideas come from? Now, it's okay if the ideas originated with you, but where did the implementation come from? If you had to do everything yourself to make that happen, you are seriously limiting, you are restricting the ability for your business to grow. Conversely, if you are noticing that, no, we have implemented as a team everything, and I'm so lucky because I have a great team surrounding me that implements so much, then you're on the right track. But when you're considering those things, your homework today is to figure out, well, if somebody did have a great idea, or if somebody wanted to help to implement one of my best ideas, how would they go about doing it? Do they need my permission? Are they free? Are they empowered? Do they have that trust? Ask yourself all these questions. Ask yourself, what would it take for somebody independent of you to grow your business in a really meaningful way? And if it requires too much of your input, that's a symptom that you don't have the culture that I'm talking about. If it is to be, it's up to me. True and false. It's true from the perspective that nobody's going to do the heavy lifting for you, but you're also, if everything in your business is up to you to do, then you are really limiting yourself. And maybe you're feeling that situation where we describe the business as owning you as opposed to you owning the business. So consider some of the changes that I've discussed in this video and try to implement this culture that we're referring to. I think that's where I want to leave it today. I'm really curious from you if you can comment whether or not you have that culture. If you had a struggle to put that in place, reach out to us if you want more suggestions on how to implement this. If you need some assistance in implementing this, what have you got to lose? We can help you grow your business and scale your business. If you haven't already subscribed to our newsletter, there's a link in the description. It takes just, basically click the link, enter your email address, and you'll be signed up for our newsletter. We can give you lots of great tips and other resources to help you grow your business. But leave some comments, and anything you want me to elaborate on, tell me in the comments, and I'll try to elaborate on that in a future video. It's really great when you can leave comments that everybody in the community learns from, because we need to learn from one another. Perpetual refinement.